Hello, myself Arnab Bhattacharjee. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In my earlier video, I have told you that I will come very soon with my first topic, that means strength of material, which is related to mechanics of solids. Before learning about strength of materials, at first we have to know different properties of materials. That means the mechanical properties of materials. There are different types of properties: physical properties, chemical properties, thermal properties. But in my this video, I will discuss with you about mechanical properties of materials. So before starting discussion, we have to know that why we will learn about properties of materials. In our engineering industry, a material can be used for the manufacturing of any parts and device. So, for the manufacturing of anything, we have to select a material. For the selection, before final selection, we have to study about all of the properties that can affect the longevity and reliability of the material. There are different types of mechanical properties. Let us see. Here we can see about 12 mechanical properties of a material. The name are strength, toughness, hardness, hardenability, ductility, malleability, brittleness, elasticity, plasticity, creep, resilience, and fatigue. To give the description of each and every properties, I want to give you the overview of mechanical properties. That means, what do you mean by mechanical properties of a material? We know that in our daily life, each and every material can be subjected to an external force or load, which can result failure of the material. So to resist the failure, each and every material should have different properties. As there are different types of failure in a material, so different properties help a material to resist different type of failure. So at first we have to know about strength. So what is strength? The strength means the property of a material by virtue of which the material can oppose the deformation or breakdown of itself in presence of external force and load. This sentence is very lengthy, so in a short, how can we remember? To keep in mind, or to for the easy remember, we can explain the terminology strength in a short way, that is ability to resist deformation or breakdown caused by external force. That means When a material will be subjected to an external force or load, it will not be deformed and it will not be failed. That means before applying the force, the shape of the material, and after application of the force, the shape and size of the material will be same. That is called strength. So a material, we can say that a material have a great strength when due to the application of external force nothing will be changed. Its shape, size and looking and appearance will be as same as before application of the force. So our next property is toughness. So what is toughness? It is the ability of a material to absorb energy and get plastically deformed without fracturing. And it is mathematically expressed as energy absorbed per unit volume. That means, to keep in your mind, how can you express the meaning of toughness? That is ability to absorb energy by plastic deformation and without fracture. That means we can say that a material have a toughness when due to application of external force it will absorb the force and it will be plastically deformed. That means it will be, its shape will be changed but it will not be fractured. As an example, I can tell you that in our domestic purpose we can use metallic spoon that is very thin, and if we suppose that is a metallic spoon, okay, and the that is the top view actually, and from side it is just this. So, and this is the weak point of a spoon. So if we apply one type of force here and apply another force here, it will be deformed. That means it will be just like this. That is called plastic deformation. Why? Because after application of the force, it will be remain in this form. But it will not be fractured. So this material, we can say that this material have toughness. So our next property is hardness. So what will be the hardness? Hardness is the ability to resist permanent shape change due to external stress. That means ability to resist permanent change in shape due to external stress. So when we will apply external force in a material, it can be deformed, but when the permanent change in shape will not take place, we can say that the material has hardness. Now there are three types of hardness. The three types of hardness are three types of hardness are scratch hardness, indentation hardness, and rebound hardness. So what is that? So at first we will discuss about scratch hardness. That means scratch hardness is the hardness by virtue of which a material can oppose the scratches to its outer surface layer due to external force. That means we can graphically demonstrate it. Suppose this is a material when another harder material will rub it in its outer surface, then what can be the result? As a result, here there will be scratch of the harder material. That is, suppose that is the scratch which is made by the harder material. So this material is that when this material will resist to make this scratch, that is called scratch hardness. So if scratch hardness exists in a material, then the another material cannot make any scratch in its outer surface. That is called scratch hardness. The second is indentation hardness. So what is indentation hardness? Indentation hardness is the ability to oppose the dent due to punch of external hard and sharp objects. Suppose it is a material that is an sharp object. If the most sharp point strikes at this point, then there will be an indentation like that. The material will be like this due to the strike of this sharp point. So to resist this type of indentation, that is called indentation. So to resist this type of indentation is called indentation hardness. So when indentation hardness will exist in a material, then it will be very difficult to make an indentation by a sharp material. That is called indentation hardness. Our next point is rebound hardness. So what is rebound hardness? Rebound hardness is the so rebound hardness is the ability to resist failure or impression due to vertical fall of ability to resist failure or impression due to vertical fall of diamond tip hammer on the material. That means if this is a material and suppose it's a hammer and this hammer is continuously bouncing on the material. So if at which point the hammer strikes again and again, if there is no change in the shape and size, or there is no impression due to the strike of the hammer, then we can see that that is rebound hardness. The material has rebound hardness. So how we can express the rebound hardness? What is the maximum value of rebound hardness? Actually, we know that this energy will be proportional to the height of fall. That means more will be the height and more will be the force. So rebound hardness in a material will be up to a maximum height, and after that the material, there will be an impression in that material. That is called rebound hardness, and this rebound hardness is determined by the maximum height of the hammer from which it can fall on the material. So the height up to which, the maximum height from which the hammer can fall on the material without making any impression of the material. That is the main key point of rebound hardness. And after that, greater than that height, as the hammer will fall on the material, it will plastically deformed. That is called rebound hardness. Our next point is hardenability. Hardenability means the ability of a material to attain the hardness by different heat treatment process. That means we have to apply heat on a material for bring it in another shape and size from its original size. So by applying different heating and cooling process, the hardness of a material can vary. It can up and down. This property is called hardenability of a material. And it can be expressed as the depth. That means suppose this is the depth of a material D, and if we apply different heat treatment process, it can be hard. Suppose it is being hard up to this level, from this level to this level. So this measurement, like suppose a small d, so the hardenability of this material is small d. Hardenability of this material will be the small d, and its unit will be meter, centimeter or millimeter, etc. and etc. Our next point is brittleness. So what is brittleness? Property due to which a material gets fractured without any deformation due to application of external force. So, due to the brittleness, when we will apply an external force on the material, there will be no deformation, there will be no change in shape. The material will direct fail and it will be direct broken into two or many parts. That is called brittleness. Our next property is ductility. Ductility may be defined as ability to get stretched in thin wire due to tensile force. So I will give you the graphical demonstration of ductility. Suppose that is the material, and if we apply tensile force, that the force that tends to pull the object, so what will be the result? Suppose the force is P. As a result of this tensile force, the material will get length greater than its initial length and will get its width smaller than its initial width. That means length will be greater and width will be smaller. Gradually, due to the application of force, it will be get shape like thin wire. This property is called ductility of a material. Our next point is malleability. So what is the malleability? Malleability, sorry, there is a spelling mistake. So what is the malleability? Malleability is the ability to get deformed in thin sheet due to external compressive force. Now I will give you the graphical demonstration. Compressive force means the force which tends to compress a material. Suppose that is a material, so we can compress this material from these two sides or from. So what will be the result? As a result, that is the height of the material and that is width of the material. So as a result, what will be its shape? It will be lower in height greater in width. Finally, its shape will be. So our next property is elasticity. So elasticity means property or ability of a material to regain its original shape and size after removal of external force. So if we give a pictorial demonstration, in our daily life we use rubber band. Suppose that is the rubber band. So if we apply tensile force, the rubber band will be extended in its length. But after removal of this force, when the force will be removed, it will again return back into its original shape and size. This properties is called elasticity. Next is plasticity. Plasticity means property of a material by virtue of which it can be permanently deformed by application of external force. That means after removal of the force, it cannot regain its original shape and size. That is called plasticity. Our next property is creep. So what is creep? creep is known as the tendency of a material to move slowly and deform permanently by influence of external mechanical stress. That means by the property of creep, when we will apply any external force on a material, it at first it will not get permanent deformation, or it will not get any failure. The point of application at which the force applied will be gradually weak, and the weakness of the material will gradually be increased, and due to the weakness, after application of the external force, it will deform permanently. This property is called creep. Our next property is resilience. So resilience is known as ability of a material to absorb energy by elastic deformation and release of this energy after removal of the external force. And if we want to clear our concept about resilience, the one and only ideal example in our practical life is spring. Just see, I can give you the pictorial demonstration. Suppose that is spring. So if we apply compressive force on it, it will be deformed and it will be compressed, but this compression is elastic. That means after removal of the force, it will be again regain its it will be again it will again return back to its original size. The spring is an elastic material in our practical life. So when it is compressed due to the application of this compressive force, it absorbs the energy, and after removal of the force, when it gets its original shape and size, then it releases the energy. This property is called resilience. For today, our last topic is fatigue. So what is fatigue? Fatigue is the weakening of material caused by repeated loading of the material. When a material is subjected to cyclic loading and loading greater than certain threshold value but much below the strength of material, microscopic cracks begin to form at grain boundaries and interfaces. That means fatigue means weakening of material by weakening of material by repeated loading, that is called fatigue. So friends, this was my today's topic, and I hope that I can help you to clear your conception about the mechanical properties of materials. But after watching my today's video, many questions will be arised in your mind, so put it in the comment box. I will give the answer of this question, and in my first video and in the description of the channel, my contact number and my email has already been given, so contact me directly, my contact number, to clear your doubt and confusion. So I will come again with my next video on another subject. Thank you.